اینجا آمدم که آنچه را شما قیام کنندگان می‌خواهید اعلام کنم. شما قیام کنندگان در سراسر شهرهای ایران. بله، زمان سرنگونی است، پیروزی حتمی است و ایران آزاد می شود.
کجا نغمه کن در کوچه روی بام، دم به دم بر زبان جاری کن این کلام. می تپد قلبمان هر لحظه با قیام، می تپد قلبمان هر لحظه با قیام. از تکاپوی ما روشن شود ظلام، امن و آسایش است بر عاشقان حرام.
Colleagues from around the world, and as Teresa just said, people in 30,000 locations in over 100 countries all joined together to support freedom in Iran and Madame Rajavi's 10-point plan, and for a choice for a new start under a new government in a new Tehran. And may I send a special greeting to all my good friends in Ashraf, whom I hope to visit this year. I will certainly try to be with you next year.
will show up on the screen. Ready? Mariam Rajavi, distinguished participants, and all of us who are gathered. Rajavi, distinguished participants, and all of us gathered here in order to move forward with a free, democratic, and peaceful Iran. In order to move forward with a free, democratic, and peaceful Iran. I'm joined, as you can see, by your great representative, advocate, friend, Bob Torricelli, and your equally staunch supporter, Senator Joe Lieberman, two great American leaders and two people who are very, very staunch defenders and advocates of a free, democratic, and peaceful Iran. It's an honor to be with them, and it's an honor to be with you. And it's very exciting to be part of the largest virtual gathering in the world, connecting people on Zoom. I can't imagine it. From 102 countries, almost 30,000 different locations. The event, most importantly, is broadcast live in Iran.
Today, I stand before you not only as Albanian. I speak to you as a friend. I am not here to represent the government of Albania. Its actions speak louder than my words ever could. I am here to speak for all those voices which cannot be heard: mothers, daughters, fathers, sons, and Albanian families. I want to say that Camp Liberty in Albania, you are part of our family. You are in our faith. An unwritten law stands back of each one who fights to defend freedom. Mujahideens are not the problem of Iran. They are a flag of the future freedom of their country. Freedom, first of all, is humility and hope. Mujahideens are the unwritten rule of freedom. This is a reason why they are the flag of hope, where the choices reflects their bravery. Dear friends, every day.
Dear friends, what a wonderful way to connect again, despite the physical obstacles that are turning today's world upside down. How important that you have found this alternative way of bringing once again together the global community that wants to stand up for human rights and democracy in Iran. And how urgent to send a message to the Iranian people that a campaign for justice and solidarity continues, no matter the long and winding road still ahead. Last time we met on the occasion of celebrating your new home at Ashraf 3. It was a moving moment after the terror that haunted you at Ashraf 1, at the time that I had the privilege as a special representative of the Secretary General of the United Nations to stand up for your human rights and dignity in the face of relentless attack and persecution. And it was a gratifying moment, with special thanks to the Albanian government, to know that after many years of tireless efforts, the insecurity of Ashraf 2 had been replaced by the peaceful welcome that the new home is offering. I look forward to meet you there again, wishing that the world will be able to master the COVID crisis, which is keeping our world apart today. This brings me to the need to remind the world of the incompetence of the Iranian regime in dealing with the coronavirus, in leaving the Iranian people on their own amidst death and fear. For nearly 1 month, the public was kept away from information about the facts. During that period, flights to and from China continued. After the true disaster appeared, medical or financial.
And then a special recognition, if I could, to some of the people I admire most. The point of the spear, in the struggle for Iranian freedom, the residents of Ashraf, who also spend there every waking hour thinking about how to maneuver the Iranian people into a new, prosperous, and free future. I know that we have met many times before, but every signal from every corner is that we are now writing the last chapter in this struggle for freedom. Mayor Giuliani cited before the great wisdom of struggles often comes not from its leaders, but from the streets, from people themselves who are putting themselves on the line. And you can hear in cities and towns all across Iran today a common message. Reformers, hardliners, the game is up. The game is up. It is over. Or simply, give us our country back. The Shah, the mullahs, dictators all, give us our country back.
The U.S. to address the Free Iran Global Summit. It's my pleasure to announce the former Attorney General, Michael Mukasey.
Mrs. Rajavi, conferees at this extraordinary record-setting conference, and residents of Ashraf 3. It's true that we are meeting and conferring in a virtual way, but make no mistake about it. The challenge and the threat that NCRI represents to the mullahs in Tehran isn't just virtual, it is actual. As you have heard, we've seen evidence as recently as 2 days ago of that, when an Iranian diplomat was arraigned in a Belgian court along with 3 of his co-defendants and charged with plotting to bomb NCRI's annual gathering near Paris in June of 2018. This is the first time that a diplomat has been charged in Europe with participating in a terrorist act, although clearly the Iranian regime has for years used agents with diplomatic credentials to carry out and promote terrorist acts. These defendants were acting at the direction of the regime's National Security Council and with the express approval of the Supreme Leader, Ali Khamenei. Their targets were Mrs. Rajavi and the many international dignitaries who were present at that conference and that gathering in 2018, some of whom are participating with us today. The motive for this foiled plot was fear. Fear of Mrs. Rajavi, fear of the NCRI, and the threat that they represent to the regime.
Thank you very much, and greetings to you, Madam Rajavi, and to all of those tens of thousands of people who are gathered virtually. It is a real tribute to the organizational skills of the NCRI that we could pull together in the middle of a worldwide pandemic this kind of gathering to bring together old friends and new friends in support of freedom for the people of Iran. You know, we've been through a lot together over the last decade. When I first came to the first meeting of this organization in Paris, there were still members of the MEK in Camp Ashraf in Iraq. Soon we were working to try to increase the living conditions in Camp Liberty, which was misnamed because there was no liberty there for the MEK members. And thankfully, because of the work of many of the people who have been a part of this movement, we saw finally those individuals move to Albania, and thanks to the work of our many, many distinguished supporters. And now I think we are able.
From 1999 to 2014, and President of the In Search of Justice Committee, Dr. Alejo Vidal Quadras.
Thank you. Good evening to you all, and good evening to you, Mrs. President Mariam Rajavi. It is a great pleasure for me to participate once again in the Iranian Resistance Grand Gathering. even if this year, in view of circumstances, we do it online. Anyway, online or in presence, our commitment and enthusiasm is always the same. There are things that do not change in Iran. And the pain of the 1988 massacre of 30,000 political prisoners remains in the heart of families because justice has not been achieved yet. Each time that we talk about the crimes committed by the religious dictatorship ruling Iran, like the 1988 massacre, or indeed the latest case of arbitrary arrest and carnage during last November protest in almost 200 cities in Iran, we hear from the international community sentences like, we call on the Iranian authorities to make investigations and punish the perpetrators.
Thank you for that gracious introduction. I'm really honored to be here with you today via Zoom. And I'm grateful to Rudy Giuliani for hosting Bob Torricelli and me. Listening to Rudy just now, he remains as great a prosecutor today as he was in his career. And I would say, if I were the judge, I would find the regime in Tehran guilty as Rudy has charged them. I bring greetings from my wife Hadassah, who was thrilled to be with me in Ashraf last year, and I must say it was humbling because when we left I was convinced that Hadassah was much more popular than I was. But she sends her love and her support to you. It's an honor to be with the National Council of Resistance of Iran, the MEK, and particularly with your great leader and my dear friend, Maryam Rajavi. This is an historic event. I think we've made it into the Guinness Book of World Records. I don't believe there has ever been this large a global meeting on Zoom in history. So it is really impressive. And let me tell you that an event like this does not happen.
Please give a warm applause to Judge Louis Freeh.
Good afternoon and good evening. It's a great honor to be with you here today from Washington, D.C. The city is quiet today, quieter than usual, but the cry for liberty and our support for you, Madam Rajavi, and all of your colleagues could not be stronger and could not be louder. We thank you for your leadership, your courage, and your vision, and your faith, which has inspired us very greatly. Especially pleased that we are able to address the freedom fighters in Iran who are in harm's way every moment and who are not hiding but are in open resistance on the streets of Iran. We have enormous respect for you, and your welfare and safety is our primary objective. You know, what's amazing about this meeting this year is not just the technology, and Madam Rajavi and your colleagues, I commend you for the ability to communicate the way we're communicating under all the challenges that you've overcome. So wonderful job, and congratulations to all the many people who've worked on it. To all our international friends and colleagues, again, we're honored to be with you here today. One of the amazing things about this event is it's not an anniversary. We're not memorializing a past event. What we're doing is looking to the future. We are pursuing a goal and achieving new milestones every year towards a free and democratic Iran. And today, we take another step in that direction. I want to echo Governor Ridge's comments, thanking the Albanian officials who we've seen, the President, the Prime Minister, and in Pandemi's words, actions speak louder than words. The heroic work that the Albanian people and its leaders have done to protect the MEK are legendary. It goes back to what they did during World War II, and we thank them and honor them for the safety and the leadership and the courage that they've provided. There's a song probably you've heard with a lyric that says, "You don't have to be a weatherman to know which way the wind is blowing." The wind today is getting stronger. It's moving the forces of freedom in Iran like a Dow on the Persian Gulf with increasing speed and momentum and support. The winds of freedom are blowing very strong in Iran. And we look at some of the positive things, again, that have been noted by many of the speakers. The congressional resolution here in Washington just a short time ago, bipartisan, as the support for freedom in Iran has always been. The trial that started yesterday in Belgium for Saadallah Assadi, who takes on the new title of diplomat terrorist. You would have to leave it to a criminal enterprise like the regime in Tehran to actually inaugurate the role of a diplomat terrorist. And that's only one of many active against the forces of freedom. But the fact of his trial in Belgium, as we speak here today, is very significant. It goes to the accountability issue, which I'd like to return to in a moment. Also, the last 3 weeks, as many speakers have noted, have seen enormous disruption and dissent throughout Iran, Natanz, Parchin, Shiraz, fires in the port city on boats. All of this is evidence of a regime collapsing, of a people who are fed up and are tired of oppression and totalitarian regime.
The young people and the fighters, the freedom fighters that are taking all the risks in Iran to end the tyranny of the mullahs. All these young people, all these men and women that we see fighting in the streets every day are making the tyranny crumble. And they have been told from a very young age that the world is their enemy, that they have to fight because Iranians have only enemies worldwide. But you see, with this display of technology that we owe to the MEK, to the NCRI, we have seen the whole world united, united for you, united to support your struggle, united to tell you that you're not alone, that we admire you, that we are with you. And of course, the mullahs want to convince the people of Iran that they are only enemies and that they are forced into a war. Because, as Adrianus Melkert was explaining, behind this is the greed, is corruption. And we know that a war is always very important and comfortable to hide corruption. So the mullahs are using the war in order to steal from the Iranian youth their time, their prosperity, their opportunities, and most of all, they are using God to do evil. We are witnessing this evil every day, but we are also witnessing a beacon of light